Hi everyone. I thought I would talk about buying property here in Maine and share some of the tips and things I've learned throughout my life in dealing with looking for property and making real estate transactions. And I have bought many homes throughout my life, not here in Maine, but I've learned a lot about um, the realtors and transactions via sales and making offers and all of that. And no, I am not a realtor. I am not invested or have any interest in any of the sales of the properties I'm going to mention. I'm just going to share two that I found this morning just to give you an idea what's out there and show you as an example what possibilities that you might consider. And, looking for real estate, it's always exciting, but it can be very stressful, especially if you're in a hurry or you have a time frame. And, but it can also be a tremendous learning experience. And so, my first suggestion for anybody, and you might know this already, but just keep your options open because you never know if you're looking for that perfect uh, home, what you find may not be perfect as it is when you find it, but it might be the perfect price, and you can make it perfect once you start working on it. So my number one important requirement for myself was, and realtors will tell you this all the time, it's location. Where you want to be, what you enjoy doing, and what you value. What's your lifestyle? What do you enjoy doing? And mine was I wanted to be either right on the ocean or as close to it as possible. And if I couldn't find something right smack on the ocean, well, I was going to be as close as possible. And so, lo and behold, I found it, but it was a compromise when I found this place because I did have buyer's remorse for about a year, and I'll tell you why. The driveway to get to this little cabin can be very challenging, especially in the winter. And my first winter here, I actually said to myself, what the heck did I do? And I think part of it is you have to become acclimated to your new home. It's just a matter of getting used to being in a new place and finding your way around and all of that. And of course, when I found this place, it was within my price range, but it was within my price range because it was completely unfinished with no heat source whatsoever and completely not insulated at all. So I bought this in the middle of winter, and so it was a hustle to get the stove in here and to put up enough insulation to be warm enough. But determine me. I look back now and I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And it was a struggle to figure out how to drag my groceries through the snow down my very, very long driveway, which is actually more like a road. But after the first year, after I figured out how to get by through a winter with a lot of snowstorms, I figured out a way to do it. So keep an open mind and realize that there really is a settling in period, especially if you're not from Maine, if you're not used to the weather. And so here's my first little piece of property that I found, and I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible, but give you as much information as I can without making this too long. First of all, there are tons of waterfront property. Now, there are setbacks if you're building on a lake, but what you can do is you can find an existing little cabin right smack on a lake, and if it's a fixer-upper, you can either work on it and make it your own, or you can tear it down and build on the existing foundation. Now, there's something called a grandfather clause, which means that if you find a little cabin that is in absolute shambles, but it's right smack on a lake, that is a deal, because you can buy that for pretty cheap, and you can either live in an RV or put a little shed on the property while you bring that cabin back to life. And depending on how your skills are carpentry wise, you could be looking at a $500,000 little cabin by the time you're done. And use that grandfather clause to keep that house right on a lake, because I don't believe you can build on lakes anymore. I think there's quite a setback. So I found one this morning just to use as an example. And it's kind of an unusual name of a town, but it's called Medibumps. M as in Mary, Eddy. And I think it's BMUPS, Medibumps, Maine. And it's a little cute little blue cabin right on a lake. I'm sorry, I don't remember the lake's name. And I think it just recently came on the market, so it might not last long, but it's a great example because they absolutely tore it apart and gutted it on the inside. And I think they're asking about $150 for it. But what is really, really appealing to this little cabin is that the back deck almost overhangs the water. And you could put your kayak out there and just have the time of your life. Now, 150 might be a stretch, and I'm guessing they're probably going to get it because it's an awesome location. But again, you're looking at a very, 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 very valuable investment for whoever grabs that place and fixes it up. Now, another thought about buying lakefront property. If you've never lived on a lake before, you may not be aware of this, but this was a deal breaker for me because sound carries across water if you're not familiar. And you can actually sometimes hear someone having a conversation across the lake because the water will carry voices. And if you can hear them, that means they can hear you. And in summer, you might end up with a lot of campers, a lot of boaters, and you might want to check out if there's a lake that you're interested in. Are there restrictions on motorized boats? Because some lakes have them. And if you're lucky enough to find one, that is an even better choice for a place to live, because that ensures the peace and quiet, and you won't have all those screaming motors racing past your cabin. And so there's a few tips about living on a lake in Maine. Now I found another really, really cute cabin, and I think it's on the ocean, and it's in Robinstown, Maine, not too far away. Robbins, I think it's STON, I'm not sure. But it's an adorable little tiny place on 10 acres. And I think they want 160, I can't remember, but look on realtor.com, you'll find it. And I don't expect that will last long because it is adorable. And within a 45-minute drive, you've got a Walmart Supercenter, and you've got all kinds of things that you can go to. So you're secluded, you're on the ocean, yet you're near a town. And Calais is very, very small, but they do have, your basic McDonald's, Burger King, hardware stores, all of that. And then you can go back to your own little retreat, which is what I do here because I have shopping nearby here too. So those are some tips about just a few properties I found here in Maine. And if you're just looking for land, I think you need a 30% down payment. But here's the plus side of that too. If you can find some land and you can buy one of those really cute little sheds, and you can insulate it yourself and put in one of those little tiny wood stoves. You can live in that and either build your own little cabin or just add on to your shed. And the more your land appreciates in value, that will help you with a construction loan. If you, because you can count that as a down payment for your construction loan. And I hope that makes sense to you. And you can even call a local bank here and ask them how that works, because your equity can count towards your down payment in terms of qualifying. And that's not all, these are not the kinds of things that you may typically be aware of. And realtors may not be either having the time to explain it or be even knowledgeable about it. Now, here's the thing about realtors, and I have met many. There are some who are very good, and there are some who are just there for the deal, and they will be friendly to you as long as, you know, because obviously they're in business and they want to sell property. But if you have any concerns or questions, please know that you need to ask them, because they are not obligated to really tell you the negatives unless you ask. And if you ask, they are obligated to disclose the negatives about the property. And I have come right out before and said, what's the deal with this place? Why has it been on the market this long? Why are the sellers leaving? What are the neighbors like? Are there any problems with the lot? Is there anything buried here? Are there any soil tests that I need to know about that came back in a negative way? What about the water? Test the water. Never take their word for it. Oh, the water's great. Don't worry about it. Nope. Have somebody test the water and make it part of your sales agreement that that has to come back safe to drink unless the deal is off. And put in a bunch of contingencies just to protect yourself. And if the seller has a problem, then consider yourself lucky that you didn't buy a property that might have been having some hidden concerns with it. So, you know, be your own best advocate. Even go to the town and say, what's the history on this place? What are the taxes? Are there any liens on this place? You know, just take your time. Don't be in a hurry. And don't feel rushed to close a deal either. If anybody tells you this price is only good for 30 days, walk away, because you don't need that kind of pressure. And I have been known to drive realtors crazy because I will ask as many questions as I feel like it. And I have also um, been involved with realtors who, upon closing, can't be bothered to give me the time of day, because after closing, they don't owe you anything. They're done, the sale is over, and those are the realtors that I will never use again. Because to me, if they're interested in maintaining a professional and fair way of doing business, they need to still be available to you after that sale. And so that's important to know too. So I hope this video is helpful to you. I've tried to think of as many things as I can to help you. And Maine is absolutely stunning. I chose down east Maine because of the climate, because inland can be, I guarantee you, at least 10 degrees colder, and they also will have much more snow. Northern western Maine can actually be even colder. So even though you might see some cheaper prices, they are cheaper for a reason. And many of those properties are only summer homes. So you might even want to venture out that way. Go camping. take your time, drive through all these little towns, and check out why these places are cheaper. What is the winter really like? And find out for yourself, honestly. But down East Maine, I think, is the best of both worlds because you have the ocean, but you also have the rural settings and the advantage of being far north, away from all the touristy crowds south of us, and it's still drivable if you love to visit down to Portland or down to Acadia National Park. And so this to me is the perfect hideout. And there are properties available in Down East Maine along the ocean. There are quite a few that have been sitting on the market, and it doesn't hurt to just pick up the phone and call a realtor. Why is that property still on the market? What's wrong with it? Why is it not selling? Because what you can do is, if it's been sitting for a year or more, you can pretty safely assume that that seller is willing to work with you, and you don't have to offer asking price. You can come in with something much lower and see what they come back with. And it's always interesting because for properties that have been sitting for a while, you might be surprised what you can buy it for. And don't be worried about hurting their feelings. It's nothing personal, it's a business transaction. And if they don't want to come down with their and accept your offer, then just move on and go to another one. I've actually had scenarios where I've made low offers and they've declined, and then they've come back later to see if I'm still interested. So anything can happen in real estate, honestly. And it's May, the season is just starting to pick up. And yes, there are always going to be cash buyers. Oh, there was one comment before I forget. And I think it was either late yesterday or this morning that I read. And it was a great comment because this person found what they really, really wanted. It was a farmhouse in Maine, and they'd made an offer. And sadly, someone else came in and bumped their offer, and the seller accepted their offer. And I just wanted to comment that a realtor, until a property closes, they are obligated to present all offers to the seller. It is not up to the realtor what the seller does with all of those offers, but they are legally obligated to have presented that second offer. So even though it seems as though the realtor maybe not have been fair, it's up to the seller to decide which offer they want. And that happened to me because I had a little cabin before this one, and it was back in 2020. Yeah, it was right before I bought this one. And it was a crazy market because it was when the interest rates were 3%. And I listed my little cabin, which was inland from here. And the realtor said, Barbara, this place is going to sell within a day. And I didn't believe him. Well, we listed it, and I had 2 offers the very next day. And I felt awful because I said to the realtor, I feel bad. They both want this place. What should I do? And he said, Barbara, it's nothing personal. Accept which one works for you. Now, one was a contingency, a 30-day contingency, and the other was a cash offer, 10-day closing. Well, I had met both potential buyers, because I saw them walking up to my cabin. I had to pass by them as I was leaving. And they were both very nice people, and I could see how excited they were and how badly they wanted the place. But I had to tell myself it wasn't personal. So I took the cash offer, the 10-day closing. And I knew the other party were very, very disappointed. But you know what? That's the way it is. And it was sad. Yes, if I'd only received one offer, I would have taken that one offer. But again, it's not up to the realtor in terms of the offers accepted, but they are legally bound to offer to the sellers every single offer that comes in until one is accepted, and then you're locked in. Then you have a legal binding contract. So I wanted to explain that. It was too much to type back as a comment, and if that didn't make sense, please let me know, and I'll explain it further. But if you're having any more questions about buying property in Maine, I have quite a bit of experience in buying my own different variety of homes, and I can just give you what I've experienced myself and what I've learned. So I hope that helps. It's a great time of year to start looking, and look for that diamond in the rough. Look for that house if you're on a budget that needs a lot of work. And if you're hearing gunshots, someone's out there uh, entertaining themselves, blasting a shotgun. And I absolutely hate it, but that's the way it is up here in Maine. That's another thing to be aware of. If you're looking for property, stop. It is absolutely legal to shoot your rifle here in Maine. So know that, and I'm glad they're shooting, so I can I can forewarn you with that. You can post your property no hunting, and you can post your property no trespassing, which I very much ad, ad, suggest, especially in hunting season, because if your property is not posted, um, there's free reign for all the hunters to follow a deer right past your cabin. So make sure you know about that beforehand. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you so much for everyone who subscribed to my channel. I absolutely love talking about such a variety of things, and I'm waiting for a sunny day to do my kayak video, and I'm also going to do another cabin tour upstairs. But first I want to clean it up a little, reorganize it, and show you all the possibilities I have if I ever want to work on doing my upstairs. So I'll let you know when that's upcoming. And thanks so much, everyone. I really hope this video was helpful. Take care.